So, for those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for a while now, you might know that I have a thing for these interactive movie-like video games. I've already made videos on Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, and that video is actually the longest one I've ever made. I also really love the soundtrack of these games as well. This is why I decided I want to make a video about the Dark Pictures Anthology, and why I think that the third game, House of Ashes, is by far the best game out of the 4 that we have gotten so far. Needless to say, spoilers ahead for the Dark Pictures Anthology Season 1. I will be talking about the other games a bit as well, so it's not just about the House of Ashes. What a disappointment the first season of the Dark Pictures Anthology was. Looking back at this entire season, I remember back in 2019, when I was about to start my first year of university, that Man of Medan came out, and I was so excited for it. And then I was disappointed by how poor the story and the plot of Man of Medan was. And then I was excited once again because Little Hope was announced, and it looked so mysterious and dark and interesting. I remember watching the first trailer for Little Hope with a creepy version of Scarborough Fair playing, and I was so intrigued. And then I saw the real trailer that revealed all the witch hunting plot in the game. God, that trailer was so good, and my mind went crazy. It could have been anything: ghosts, demons, purgatory, a generational curse of death, suffering and rebirth. And then again, I was disappointed when the game came out, and in the end it turned out everything was in the protagonist's head. It was all a dream. The characters weren't even real. Well, most of them, I guess. I actually have a pretty good opinion of Little Hope because I actually enjoyed the game for what it was, especially the first time I played it. It was so interesting. But man, the ending really disappointed me and left me wanting more. So much more. Come on, it could have been anything related to magic or the supernatural. The witch trial scenes were so good. The sense of mystery was set up so well. Why? Anyway, after this game I was looking forward to House of Ashes, but I wasn't as excited anymore as I used to be for Little Hope. My expectations were definitely lowered from the previous games. But not only did House of Ashes meet these expectations, it surpassed them. It felt good to see a franchise I wanted to succeed. So let's talk about what House of Ashes did differently from the other games, and why it is still the best game in the Dark Pictures Anthology, even after the release of The Devil in Me. First of all, let's start with the setting and the characters. The characters were a refreshing change of pace for supermassive games. Instead of getting cliched teenage characters for the sake of referencing the stereotypes of the horror genre, House of Ashes introduces us to a set of adult characters that don't fuck around like cringy teenagers. Well, most of the time at least. This gives a sense of gravity and seriousness to the story, and especially because the game is taking place during the Iraq War in 2003. Now, I'm not saying that the other games lacked seriousness. Little Hope surely didn't. People were getting killed there too, you know? But the fact that the main characters are actual grown-ups makes the story feel different and more serious than the previous ones. Salim is a father who desperately wants to survive and get back to his son, and that's something no other character in the previous games had. Rachel and Eric are actually married, which gives a sense of gravity to their fading relationship and the love triangle. Don't worry, we'll get there. Anyway, Jason and Nick also suffer from war-related guilt and trauma, which are pretty serious topics and mature themes for our characters. Speaking of themes, I love the whole you have to put aside your differences and uniforms and work together to survive that this game is going for. Anyway, let's talk about the characters. Jason and Salim are by far the best duo in any supermassive game, with the best chemistry and character interaction in the entire game. Which is funny considering that they get so little screen time compared to the shitty love triangle in the game. Overall, Salim is a good man who wants to see his son again, and Jason is a man who acts like an asshole because he wants to hide the fact that he was consumed by guilt. They make for some great scenes with one another because they are basically polar opposites.
This bullshit. I'm not here to honor the dead. The truth is, my life was going nowhere fast. I jumped at the chance to sign up.
We all have our reasons. They don't have to be profound.
Profound, huh? When those towers were hit, I was stoned out of my fucking skull. I didn't even hear about it till a week later. How's that for profound?
Eric. So, for the record, Eric did nothing wrong. Eric gets a lot of shit thrown at him from the game's characters and even from the curator himself actually, because he was the one who organized the mission. based on the scans of the satellite that he helped create. There is nothing wrong with a careless satellite. It was built to find underground man-made structures like this ancient temple instead of normal caves, and that is exactly what it did. There is no way Eric or anyone else could have known about the ancient fucking alien vampires. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the love triangle. So, for the record, let's start by saying that the accident was totally Rachel's fault, like 100%. One of the first things you learn in any driving course is to always watch left and right when you are entering a road. Now, we don't know how much Eric is to blame for the fall of their relationship and how he treated Rachel after this, but it is understandable that he would be somewhat angry about losing his leg. Still, I don't think this justifies Rachel cheating on her husband with a man who was very vulnerable at the time. Nick and Jason were involved in a military accident where they killed an innocent woman that they thought was carrying a bomb, but it turned out to be just a bag of groceries. Understandably, both Nick and Jason are consumed by guilt, and that's how this relationship with Rachel started. Apparently, Rachel is so important to Nick because she lifted him up, But like, not only is Rachel making the situation worse by cheating, not only is she having an affair with one of her soldiers, which I'm pretty sure the military has rules against that, but Nick then expects her to end her marriage for him even though they've only known each other for only 3 weeks. 3 weeks! Like, what the fuck? Are you sure you even know each other that well to end your marriage for it? For all of Eric's fault, he never cheated on Rachel and it seems like he sincerely wanted to rebuild their marriage. Wait, why does he like Rachel in the first place? Bro, you honestly deserve better than her. Like seriously, in the ending where they break up and they both survive, I hope Eric will be able to roast her ass in the divorce courtroom. The whole love triangle thing kinda sucks. Mostly cause it makes the characters look like assholes for no reason really. Though I understand that they are supposed to be flawed people, this whole thing is a mess, and I honestly don't understand what Nick and Eric even see in Rachel.
It's nothing short of a miracle that you survived down there.
I learned not to rely on anyone but myself. I was stronger than them all.
You serious?
No, Rachel, no. You survived by cooperating with other people. That was the whole point of the story. I know the writers wanted to make the story about the characters' interactions more complicated, but having the only playable female character be part of a love triangle has the opposite effect if you ask me. Still, I said that the relationships in the game are better than those in The Devil in Me. That game had okay characters, but it failed to use its settings to the full extent. Personally, I was disappointed by the killer's booby traps. I was honestly expecting more secret passages, traps, pits full of acid, and death rooms, I mean. Okay, now let's talk about the plot. In terms of plot, the premise of this game is very different from the others of the anthology, as it follows actual soldiers with combat experience trying to survive against the monsters while trapped in underground caves. These are soldiers who can shoot and fight back against the enemies, instead of just hiding and running. It's similar to how the characters in Until Dawn can also somewhat fight back against the Wendigos with guns. Again, a refreshing change of pace after Man of Medan and Little Hope, and even The Devil in Me, where the characters are mostly running and hiding with few exceptions here and there. As for the monsters themselves, the vampire monsters are very generic in their design, but very cool in their backstory. These are actually alien creatures who crash landed on Earth thousands of years ago, and were infected by a parasite that turned them into vampire-like monsters. It is said that they used to be a peaceful race before they were infected by these parasites, and honestly, that's such a cool backstory. I love it. It is clear that the first season of the anthology was all about subverting the supernatural trope, and instead giving us scientific explanations about what is going on in these games. In the first game, it is revealed that the ship isn't actually cursed, but full of poisonous gas that makes people hallucinate their greatest fears. In Little Hope, it is revealed that our protagonist hallucinated everything due to his past traumatic experiences. Though it is possible that something supernatural might actually be going on in Little Hope after all. And in this game, it is revealed that the vampire-like demons of the ancient buried temple are actually aliens from fucking outer space. Bravo, this time the twist actually fucking works and I love it. Because it's not a gotcha moment, you thought this was a supernatural story, but no, there is a logical explanation to everything. Which by the way, creates a bunch of plot holes in Man of Medan. Instead it is a aha moment. I wasn't expecting that. Seriously, alien and alien parasites are fucking cool, man. In conclusion, I want to say that I've enjoyed the first season of the Dark Pictures Anthology for what it was, even though I was disappointed by some of these games. Like, I couldn't really recommend these games to anyone, because I didn't think they would be worth their time in terms of quality, you know? However, I do think that the House of Ashes is worth it. It is definitely the best game in the anthology in my opinion, and if you are thinking about playing any of these games, I would definitely recommend you give House of Ashes a try. Unlike the other games, it manages to create a unique setting with more mature characters, some wholesome interactions, and an important theme. And of course, the game offers multiple different scenarios, cutscenes, and endings depending on the choices you make. There are way too many ways this story can change and branch out, and so I'm not gonna try and list or analyze all of the endings here. But my favorite ending has to be the one in which Salim gets to walk free and go home, and it's not called by the organization at the end credits. Anyway, thank you for watching as always everyone. Please let me know if you enjoy this type of content. I know most people only watch and care for my House of the Dragon videos, but I also like talking about the Dark Pictures Anthology. So let me know if you want to see more of these sorts of videos. Thank you for watching as always, and I hope we will meet again.
In the future. Farewell.